everybody, the greatest goblin that ever lived is here for another comic book review for this week of October 2014. I apologize for the lateness here. Yes, I'm filming in a new location. The reasons for that is kind of personal, but yeah, I'd personally rather not talk about it in great detail. Long story short, I am now living with my girlfriend Jennifer. You know, it was emotionally challenging, but I am now living with Jennifer right at Arkham Comics. I live in a comic book store now, so this is where I live now. I'm filming this in my new man cave, so to speak. But I got a pile of books here to talk about. 2 indies and the rest are Marvel and DC. We're going to start with something from Boom Studios. Now, I was originally going to review this book as part of my next Midtown Comics stash, but the next Midtown Comics stash is going to be pushed back even further because of, you know, what's been going on in my personal life here lately. I still haven't had a chance to sit down and read the last stash that TheMtVernonKid, my bro Chris, sent me, but I will get to it. I will read those books, and as soon as I do, I promise I will try to get a Midtown Comics stash review up as soon as I can. But I decided to go ahead and review this book as part of this review. So I'm starting off with Boom Studios, and I'm starting with George Perez's Sirens, #1 of 6. I should have told Chris that I went ahead and ordered this series here at Arkham, but he sent this to me, and I went ahead and read it, and I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks a lot. But yeah, on to this. George Perez, still to this day, is one of my personal favorite artists ever. I've always loved his artwork. I still love his artwork to this day. However, with that being said, this book is also written by George Perez. And no disrespect, Mr. Perez, but you're clearly a better artist than you are a writer. Because there were parts of this book where it was really tough to follow along with how the storyline was being paced. It's like one moment you're here, then you're here, then you're here. I felt like I was trying to read the board on Press Your Luck. You know, it just felt like here. You know, it just kind of felt like a mess. And there were a couple of moments where it kind of lost my attention, but I was able to stick with it. And the story itself is not bad. You know, it's just an invaders, you know, making a big attack, and this team of sirens is being called up on. And I like how the story is presented. Like I said, I just don't like how it's paced. If the story seemed more straightforward, to me at least, it would have been a much better read, excuse me. However, the thing that really does shine in here is George Perez's artwork. Call me biased if you want to, but George Perez still has it, and the artwork in here was fantastic. It's just the writing that I was a little concerned about. But maybe issue 2 will be better than this. I mean, this was just the starting. Maybe it's a bit of a rough start, and once the series gets going, it'll get better. But for now, I'm going to be nice because it's George Perez and it's great artwork. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Next up, we're going to IDW with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, #38. Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz. Just awesome writing. Then you got Santaloco, who I think is probably the best artist going on this book right now. I believe Santaloco's artwork is my favorite out of the IDW Ninja Turtles run so far. It's my personal favorite artist for this book, and it is so well done. And I loved how he still manages to give the turtles each an identifiable look. You know, and it's like, because, you know, let's face it, if you read this in black and white, you're not going to know who's who unless you give the turtles a distinct look. And there is one in there. Probably the most noticeable one is Michelangelo. But as you can see on the cover, Old Hub is up to something here. He is creating this mutant army, and he has this deal going with Splinter. Now apparently he has found a way to create intelligent mutants by mixing mutagen with Splinter's blood to make these mutants seem more intelligent. You saw how it's worked on Slash. Slash is like almost Donatello smart. He was able to disarm Donatello's smart alarms. Even Donatello was shocked by how he did it. And it's like all the drama is there, especially with the moment between Donatello and Splinter. You know, Donatello sees saving the world as being more important than simply stopping the Shredder. You know, and he even goes so far as to call Splinter crazy for having this obsessive vendetta against Oroku Saki. But in the meantime, as Hobb is explaining his plans and everything, we find out that they're still recruiting specimens. But before I get to that, there is a big familiar face. If you grew up on the 80s Ninja Turtles, the cartoon, and you had the 80s action figures, there is a face that appears in here. We have a first appearance from a flashback from the 80s days of the Ninja Turtles, and who they brought in here, my jaw dropped, both out of excitement and out of simply, what? Him? They're bringing in him? Okay, let's go with it, okay? But at the end of the issue, they send in the wrong person to recruit, to pick up specimens. Because the cliffhanger is a bit of a, whoa boy! This was good. This was really good. Not much in the line of action, but the storytelling in here is so well done. So well put together. It's very well paced. The artwork is great. There, you know, like I said, the familiar face from way back in the 80s is in here, and plus that last page, just damn, this was good. I give it a 4. All right, let me move the camera back a little bit. Oh. Next up, we're going to DC with Dynamite. We're going to Batman 66 meets the Green Hornet, number 5 of 6. I'm not going to give too much away here, but everybody that worked on this, including Kevin Smith, they all did a great job in here. However, this particular issue didn't come off quite as good as I expected it to. There were a few lines of dialogue where even I was going, oh. Look, I know it's the Adam West Batman stuff. I get it, but man, there are a few lines of dialogue where I'm like, man, that's even corny for that kind of shit. And this whole the way Hornet and Kato convinced Batman and Robin to work alongside with them, clever, very well done. It looked like something Green Hornet would do. It works. It's correct character development for the Green Hornet. Very well done. Bravo. The artwork in here, it switches. You know, the first half of the book, we got Garmin, and the second half of the book, we got Templeton. I gotta say, I really don't want to compare Templeton and no, Garmin's one of the writers. Excuse me. Ty Templeton and John Bogdanoff, but I gotta say I liked Bogdanoff's artwork a little bit better than Ty Templeton's. It looked more closer to the he did a better job of getting closer to the accurate look of how this would look if we were actually watching it on television. But of course the covers by Alex Ross are phenomenal. This was a strong issue, not as strong as I expected it to be because of some of the dialogue in here, but for what it was, it did work, and the cliffhanger at the end was damn impressive. I did like that. What Joker and Gum do at the end of the book, I'm like, wow, that's kind of dark for a Cesar Romero Joker. But I just love that cliffhanger at the end was just impressive. But yeah, some of the dialogue did hurt it. I was going to give this a 4.5, but it kind of hurts it a little bit. I give it a 4. It was still pretty damn awesome, just not perfect. Alright, moving on to Detective Comics number 35. We got a new creative team on here. Shit, I never forgot their names. The writer is Benjamin Percy, and the artist is John Paul Leon. Benjamin Percy, first impression on this new start to Detective Comics. Not bad. Not bad. The artwork is good too. Really shady, really well detailed, and especially in the dark outlining and everything, it works. You know, when you got storytelling like this, like the way this story was written, this is part 1 of Terminus. Terminal, excuse me. Terminus. It's part 1 of Terminal. The way the story is being told and the way this story is written, the artwork we get in here, it really works. This is going to be one of those really dark and really, you know, Batman, we're used to seeing Batman being dark, but we're going on the really creepy stuff. I mean, the really creepy shit with Batman. A plane crashes. Batman and the security at the Gotham International Airport, they're investigating this plane crash. What they find in this plane, oh boy. I don't want to ruin it. I don't really want to ruin it, but I'm like, damn. Just damn. Whoever is behind that, well, they do reveal who's going to be the antagonist of this story, but I don't want to give it away. But this guy who's supposedly behind this, I mean, Jesus. I mean, this could really impress me more than I anticipated. I mean, this was very well handled, really well written, and it's like they're in a time window. They're given a certain amount of time to solve this case and find out what's going on before something happens. And you know, I'm trying not to give that much away. But this was dark, but in a good way. This was creepy, but in a good way. I like the storytelling. And the dialogue in here, there's not much of it. Because sometimes good artwork is good enough to tell a story. And we get moments of that. There are a few pages where you hardly see any dialogue in here at all. And to me, it works. The artwork helps tell the story. And this is really well done. Completely took me by surprise as to, because I just thought this was going to be just another two or three part story in which some terrorist is going around attacking people at airports and everything. But I got something completely different from what I was expecting, and I was like, okay, you got my attention. So kudos to the new creative team on this series. You got my attention, and you got me wanting more. Good job. Give it a 4. Moving on to Green Lantern New Gods Godhead one-shot. This is Act 1, Part 1 of this whole Godhead storyline. Look, I'm glad that they're giving a Green Lantern event storyline to somebody other than Jeff Johns. I'm glad of that. But this first part, I just wasn't feeling it. It just, it's like exposition, exposition, exposition. We need to get a ring. We need to get a ring. The beginning part of this book with all the exposition about Darkseid and Apocalypse and the new guys and everything, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at all. The artwork is good, but the storytelling for the beginning of the book was just kind of, it just kind of bored me. The issue kind of picked up a bit when the new gods started going around and getting one ring from each core. You know, they needed the green, violet, indigo, you know, orange, yellow, red, blue. You know, they got one ring from each core. And there's also consequences when they get these rings. Now you know who's got the one and only orange ring. You know who has that. Where they get the yellow ring, I'm not gonna ruin that, but damn. Now you know who's got the one blue ring, so that's kind of a giveaway. But where they get the red And the green ring, woo! Woo! What happens when they get the red ring? That's a pretty big moment. But probably the biggest moment of this issue, easily the biggest moment of this issue, excuse me, is the green ring. Interesting. Very okay. I'll give credit where credit is due. The book was slow. The book was slow, slowly paced, and it got interesting when they went around stealing a ring. Not bad. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I'll give it a 3. Also, $5? Really? Alright. Oh, almost dropped it. Alright. Moving on to Green Lantern number 35. This is Act 1, Part 2 of Godhead. Yeah. This was a little bit better than the first part. This was a little bit better. This is basically the Green Lanterns trying to regroup after what happened in the first part. That's basically what this is. You know, and long story short, they... Yeah, oh man, I mean, just all kinds of crazy shit goes on in here. You know, they find out who's behind all this, and the Green Lanterns are a little way in over their head. They're being told that they have a power that they can't even begin to comprehend. They don't really know how powerful these weapons are and everything like that. But the cliffhanger at the end of the issue was interesting. Alright, the cliffhanger got my attention. This kind of felt like the first part. Kind of slow, but pretty good, just not great. I'm also going to give this a 3. The storyline needs to pick up a little bit. Moving on to Edge of Spider-Verse number 4. This is easily the darkest issue of Edge of Spider-Verse so far. This is easily the darkest, the creepiest, and the flat-out sickest issue of this particular series, this mini-series. Oh my god, this looked like a cheap horror movie. I mean, it had everything. The creepy cover that looks like a B-movie horror title, you know, and shit like that. The storytelling in here was creepy. I mean, just creepy. The shit that happens in here, it just made you just want to go, ugh, you know, wow. And, oh, I just can't go into great, I don't want to spoil this because this was good. This was so creepy and cheesy, it was good. It was really good. The ending of this issue was just, whoa. I'm not going to spoil a damn thing. I mean, you need to read this book. If you're not going to buy it, that's your choice. If you're going to buy it or not, that's great. But you need to at least read this issue. This was fucked up. I mean, this was really fucked up. Imagine if Spider-Man was like this. Oh God, how much of it could you stand? This was so creepy and so campy. It felt like a campy horror movie. That was fucking awesome. I enjoyed this. There were a couple of moments in here I was like, whoa. Yeah, I just, wow, really impressive. I give it a 4. All right, moving on to Spider-Man 2099 number 4. This is the last issue before it ties into Edge of Spider-Verse. This is Miguel going up against Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, and all those Spider Slayers. Tiberius Stone has a little bit of a change of heart in this issue. I'm going to minorly spoil that, but what I won't spoil is how Miguel figured out how to beat the Scorpion. Pretty damn clever. Pretty damn clever. I sure as hell wouldn't have thought of what he did. Very nicely handled, very nicely done. This was a quick read, but a fun one. A fun read. I enjoyed it. It was good. I give it a 4. Kudos to Peter David. You're killing it on that one. Now I'm sure this is the one everybody's been waiting for. Thor number 1. You damn right. I was ready for this. And I loved how the first page the exposition page on in the beginning of the book, I liked how it explained everything that was going on before the story even began. You know, it felt like you didn't need to read Thor, God of Thunder. Hi, baby. Oh, that's awesome. But I liked how it's like the first page showed, okay, here's what's going on in Thor, in case you haven't read it. Super Spy Nick Fury gets secrets, whispers something to Thor. Thor drops the hammer on the moon. Now he finds himself unworthy. Great. Keep it simple, stupid, as the Schleg Daddy would say. Cheap plug for you, Schleg Daddy, that you're welcome. But, yeah, it kept it simple, kept it focused, right to the point. There you go. And this issue begins with Thor basically kneeling down on the ground in front of Mjolnir, just so depressed. And it really paints a picture as to just how addicted to the hammer was Thor. It just made the writing and the way the story was being told and presented to me, it just made me feel like that Thor depended way too much on the damn hammer, like he was depending on it like a drug. Meanwhile, Odin has returned from his self-imposed exile to Asgardia. That's what it's called now, but I still call it Asgard. The All-Father has returned, and he's appalled to see that Thor is no longer worthy. So he's like, I'll take the damn hammer. Not even Odin can lift the hammer. Odin is not worthy of Mjolnir, and he is pissed. The All-Mother says that there should be a Thor. Meanwhile, the Frost Giants are making an attack with a little help from a familiar face. I'm not going to ruin who that was. Thor goes into battle with a different weapon, and let's just say things don't go so well for Thor, Odin's son. Yeah. But the end of the book has the big reveal of the new Thor. And as she's picking up the hammer, you'll see on the enchantment on the hammer, whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. And as she's picking up the hammer, lightning strikes the word he and writes an S next to it. If she be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. Now, I will spoil one thing. The issue doesn't reveal who the new Thor is, but it does reveal that a new Thor has arrived. And I liked that. You don't want to give everything away on the very first issue. Keep your readers intrigued. Make them want to keep buying these issues, or make them at least want to keep reading these issues. God, I gotta know who the new Thor is. Maybe the first issue will tell me. No, it didn't tell me. I gotta read the next one. Oh, the second one didn't tell me. I gotta read the next one. I gotta know who it is. That's smart. It may not be a perfect strategy, but for right now, it's the right way to go. You don't want to give everything away on the first issue. So I applaud Marvel for this. I applaud Jason Aaron for this. Don't ruin everything. Keep the readers guessing. Keep their minds focused on what the hell happened in here. Keep them focusing. What's going to happen to the real Thor? Who's this new Thor? All kinds of crazy questions that we want answered. We got to get the next issue. We got to get on board with this. This was fantastic. Easily, this is my pick of the week. This was really, really well done. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but for what I got, it was awesome. I fucking loved it. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Jason Aaron, for this. This is awesome. 4.5. We're ending this, however, on a bit of a sad note. We're ending this with X-Men number 20. No offense to Mark Guggenheim and everybody that worked on this issue, but I just wasn't feeling this. It's just bleh. I mean, you know, this team of X-Men just fights a bunch of crazy horde people, and you know, they find out that Deathbird is still pregnant, and apparently she's been pregnant for a long time, and she's been kept in stasis, and so has her pregnancy, and everything like that. You know, fine, skipped and whoopie-woo, whoopie-doo, what do we do now? I mean, I actually went through this book twice, and the only thing I mean, I'm serious. Literally the only thing that interested me was the last page. But I'm not going to give it away. As disappointing as this issue was, the last page is like, I felt like I was just thumbing through this, just reading it, you know, just like, okay. Then you get to the last page, whoa, okay. Now that kind of hurt, that does kind of hurt the book in a little bit. If you're just thumbing through this, just casually reading it, just like, it's just there, and then you get to the last page and that's when you get the reader's attention, that's not really that good. You want to keep the reader's attention throughout the whole book. That's your main focus when you're writing and working on a comic book. You want to keep the reader's attention the whole way through. You don't want to snag it at certain points of the book and then lose it and then get it back and then lose it and get it back. It's really bad when you don't have it at all until the very end of the issue, and that's what happened to me. Maybe all of you who read this issue probably enjoyed it a lot better than I did, and that's great, that's fine. Maybe y'all hated it, and that's just fine too. But for me, this was just there with a great cliffhanger. So even with the great cliffhanger, this still felt like an average read. It was just there. I'd give it a 2.5. Well, that's all I got for this review, everybody. I want to thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe to Blugoblin01. Don't forget Blugoblin X. Go check out Arkham Asylum Studio while you're at it. I know we haven't worked on a video in a while, but we need to find something to work on. Find something goofy and silly to review and get it up. Big shout out to my bro, TheMtVernonKid. Of course, Deadpoolzilla and Brandon Hex. Thanks again for watching, everybody. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.